Kia ora koutou, no mai haere mai, and welcome to Frogs on Friday. I've got a great show lined up today. First off, we'll start with Mahi Media and talking about some of the recent employment reports that have come out this week. We'll take a look at some of the hot jobs across New Zealand, as well as our friends in Australia and the UK. And I want to know, is your business ready to take seriously simple carbon action in 2024? So we're joined again today by CarbonInvoice CEO and founder 𝘁𝗂𝗄𝗆, and he'll discuss the importance of businesses taking seriously simple carbon action and what 2024 looks for CarbonInvoice and those looking to make that positive business movement. And we will finish up, as always, with our social media polls. So let's jump into Mahi Media. So the big news in the employment world this week is that the employment stats came out. So I don't think it was going to be a big surprise that we saw the unemployment rate increase. So that's now sitting at 4.3% for the March quarter. And of course, we can expect it to rise further, as of course these numbers don't capture the widespread and quite drastic cuts, particularly across the public sector, that are starting to roll out now and will come into effect later down the track. Now, I try to put a bit of a positive spin wherever I can. So there was some good news in the mix. So the labour force did grow by 4,000. So we are still seeing some of the effects of those relaxed immigration settings and more people coming to Aotearoa. But on the other hand, the economy lost 6,000 jobs. So essentially, there is much greater competition for the vacancies that are still available and coming through into the market. But back to the good news, at least for workers, that is. So wages and salaries continue to grow, particularly with average weekly earnings we're up 5.8% year on year, so compared with the same time last year. The good news for employers is that although we are still experiencing wage cost inflation, the rate of that annual growth is slowing, so easing a little bit of the pressures there. Let's take a look at some of the hot jobs that we have across New Zealand and see if there's some good options for you there. Okay, so first up we have a contract role, which is a database engineer. This role is based out in East Tamaki and is looking for someone with a solid experience, so 3 to 5 years experience as a developer, and it's paying between 110 to 125k. I'm not sure of the length of the contract. It may be a fixed term contract, so maybe up to 12 months, but if you would like any extra details about this role, get in touch with Shannon, who'll be pleased to tell you all about it. Let's take a look at our perm role of the week. So we go to Wellington for this one. This is a water loss portfolio lead. So again, quite a niche role here. And this one's paying between 120 to 140k. Looking after a range of responsibilities, but particularly looking at maintaining those records in terms of company assets, including hardware, software, and other resources, and really being able to implement strategies for asset utilization, minimizing loss, and of course, making sure of compliance. You will need experience in a similar role, as well as hydraulic modeling and pressure management experience. So for this, if you have that experience or know someone who does and is looking for a change, get in touch with Chitra from our Wellington team. Okay, so we're mixing things up a little bit here. So of course we have our branches across Australia and the UK. And we really like to be able to promote our partnership with the people-to-people group and all of the opportunities that we have for people if they're looking to make that move overseas. Again, as I always say, please stay here. But if you must go, at least we can hook you up with some good job opportunities. So just a sample, there's an admin assistant. So get a start straight away with a temp role in Melbourne. Senior HR advisor based in Brisbane, that's a permanent role, and finance manager in the UK. So again, a broad range of different types of roles available, and we're more than happy to put you in touch with our great teams across Australia and the UK. So I'm thrilled to be joined by 𝘁𝗂𝗀𝗆𝗋 from CarbonInvoice. So great to have you back on the show, Carlos.
Kia ora, Shannon. Great to be here. Great to see you again.
Excellent. Now, Frog and People to People, we're going into, I think it's our second year partnering with CarbonInvoice and really making that, I guess, that chance to do the right thing and to make progress in terms of reducing our carbon footprint. But tell us a little bit about CarbonInvoice and how that works for any businesses who might want to get involved.
Awesome, Shannon. Yeah, we're nearly just coming into the second year of the partnership, which we initially kicked off with Frog in New Zealand and then broadened to the wider People to People group. So awesome progress. CarbonInvoice. So seriously simple carbon action for people-powered businesses. We have designed the easiest way and the most credible way for services businesses, and anyone with a people-powered focus to start taking carbon action. Now, that means, in terms of the product, that means 3 actions in 3 minutes. We measure your carbon footprint automatically using software and your existing accounting data. So we've developed a really quick, efficient, and smart way of doing that doesn't add any load onto the business themselves. So it's as simple as put in your business basics, tell us a little bit about your business, and then connect up your accounting file, your Xero or your MYOB, and then about 2.5 minutes later, you will have your carbon measurement done in real time, telling you your business's entire carbon footprint. So yeah, that's the first action. Secondly, we're steering our customers towards mitigating their carbon footprint by planting native trees. And generally, our customers love to do that in the communities that they operate in. So we take your carbon footprint and we basically help you understand the number of native trees you'd need to plant to compensate for it. And then thirdly, and really importantly, we have a personalized and automated content library, which all of our customers can access. And that basically gives them a range of ways to communicate with their clients, with their team, with their stakeholders, and explain exactly what they've done. So we've measured our carbon footprint as Frog. We've funded this many native trees. Shannon, well done to you and the team. As at today's date, 𝘆𝑺 has funded 743 native trees. You've got
Wow.
528 in Auckland on Motatapu, and then 214 down here in Wellington at 𝗁𝘂𝗿𝗆 Bay. So these are tangible things that people power businesses like 𝘆𝑺 can point to and demonstrate that you are taking carbon action and you are taking this seriously. Actions speak louder than words. So yeah, we've been in market for about 1.5 years. We support customers across New Zealand and Australia into the hundreds now, and yeah, services firms with 1 employee up to 100 or 150 employees is the sweet spot.
Yeah, fantastic. And I really can attest, when I got the call from your team to tell me all about it and see if we're interested. So one of the things, I'm sure many businesses as well, they want to do the right thing, but it's a problem of knowing where to start or how to do it. And sometimes that can seem like all a bit too much. So it was great to be able to have this simple solution and put it into someone else's hands so that we can just focus on continuing to do the little things that make a difference to our footprint, but being able to see the impact of that, and also to be able to mitigate things and have a nice friendly competition with our friends in Australia about how many trees you're planting, all that good stuff as well. Now, I was interested to hear if you've noticed any changes in the market for businesses wanting to be able to measure and reduce their carbon footprint, and maybe how that's impacted your focus for this year.
Yeah, great question, Shannon. As I've mentioned, we're in year 2, so numbers wise, we have seen, a massive uptick on number of businesses who are measuring their carbon footprint as that first step. We give that service away for free, so you can sign up and measure your carbon footprint for free, and then paid users. We're seeing decent growth. But I think it's a bit down on the later stage, or it is a bit down on the later sort of Q4 calendar of last year, Q3 calendar. I think wider trends, qualitative stuff that we're hearing, look, it's competitive out there. As you said, Shannon, it's competitive for jobs and it is competitive for customers. And that's a little bit sector dependent, but I think the general trend holds. So businesses are having to fight hard and retain customers, win customers, and I think we are positioning as helping our customers differentiate their business in that competitive effort. And I think we're seeing, we're getting pretty good feedback on that generally. I guess one way to think about it would be maybe the overall market of firms who are stepping into carbon action for the first time has shrunk a bit, but the market that is there are very problem aware, solution aware, and are really like action oriented. That's what we're seeing. Couple of other trends I'll speak to at a corporate level. So if you're a hiring manager or a job seeker in the corporate space in New Zealand, we have regulation for the top 200 businesses coming in from June, and that's going to mean that those top 200 listed companies now start mandatorily disclosing their climate-related risks along with their financial-related risks. So even though we might have had a change of government, things feel a bit more conservative maybe than the previous period. That regulation is still in place, and that is going to drive momentum around climate action and carbon action at that corporate level. Now, in the mid-market or the small business end, it's still very much a voluntary activity, and that's where I think that, you're looking for those business commercial drivers, which move things forward. What we're generally saying to customers and prospects in the market is, look, 2024, great time to get started, great time to measure and understand your baseline. And then you can identify some actions there. This trend of businesses and taking climate change and carbon seriously isn't going anywhere. So even though times might be a bit tough, you want to carry on working against those big trends.
Yeah, and I imagine, you know, you're affected just as everyone else by the economic climate. So there will be businesses who, you know, will have it on their list, but maybe it's not the top of their priority right now. But it's about, I think it's about seeing the bigger picture and the broader benefits that come with it. So I saw one of the testimonials there was about how it helped the business to win a tender. So sustainability and what you're doing in that space is very important, particularly to big business and government agencies as well. So it can benefit the business in that way, but also in terms of your staff and making building up your employee value proposition as well. So, you know, it's a personally important to a lot of people. So they want to see what their potential new employer is doing in that space, and if they're doing right by the planet as well. So that's good to see. And yeah, I expect to see that will start to pick up there as well.
I think, yeah, one great point, Shannon. I'll just make, yeah. So if you've got corporate customers or government customers, you are still going to be asked about your carbon footprint, and that was exactly the use case that we got the Australians mark excited about. People to people tendered to the South Australian government to win a preferred supplier spot. They got asked about their carbon footprint, didn't have a great answer, and then built the partnership with us, and we kicked that off, and they've since won that business, and Mark's on the record sharing that. So yeah, that's a great use case, and those pressures are not going anywhere. In fact, they're increasing.
Yeah. Now, I guess there are still lots of businesses out there who are looking to make the move and to take this step. What should they be aiming to achieve this year?
So I think, as I said, step one, get your measurement done right. It's the way we've designed a very simple way of doing that. If there's also the consultant pathway if you prefer to spend a bunch of money and engage a consultant to do it for you. Those are broadly the two pathways. But I think measurement and understanding of your carbon footprint is a great starting point. I think action beyond that, you want to tie it into your strategy, and it's got to be washing its own face in the next year or two, is I think what we're hearing and seeing from customers. So yeah, areas where we're helping customers is thinking about how it fits as part of their marketing activities, as part of retaining and winning customers, as well as differentiating the brand. And there's some fun stuff to do as well. So personally, or CarbonInvoice level, we're running planting days across every major city in New Zealand, and then on the east coast of Australia as well, for all of our customers. So that can be a great way to get out there, get the team involved, do something together, and build some culture and ferment by actually getting some of the trees that you have funded in the ground. But I think that just finding ways where you can get the return on investment, because times are tough. Everyone's looking to make every dollar count, and so that's got to be the key lens in 2024.
Perfect. Well, if you're interested in hearing more about this, get in touch with Carlos and the team. The details are on the screen there. Or reach out to us and we can point you in the right direction. All right, let's have a look. Thank you, Carlos. And let's have a look at the polls from last week. Okay, now this is an interesting one. I did have a quick sneak peek at the results earlier and was a little bit surprised. So we asked, how confident do you feel about securing a job in your desired industry within the next 6 months? So very confident, 60%, somewhat confident, 10%, and only 30% not confident at all. So I do like to be glass half full, so that's very encouraging that people are very confident, despite a lot of doom and gloom news on the employment front at the moment, and probably heading into some stormier waters still to come. But I love the confidence. That's great. You must putting your best foot out there and confident in your ability to secure that next role. If you do need any help, of course, come have a chat with the team at Frog. Okay, let's have a look at this week's poll. So how important is it to you if your employer contributes towards a sustainable future? So as I mentioned, sometimes it can be a tool, something that people, for attraction, something that people really consider when they're looking at their next opportunity. So let's see how important that actually is to our job seekers and employees. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll be back the same time next week, 12:30. Would love to see you there. Ka kite anō.